Welcome back to Studio Chatter. Let's dive into what you are doing with your life coaching.
So you're coaching.
Yes.
Let's dive into, is there really even like a right or wrong way to set goals?
Yes, there absolutely is. I'm so glad you asked this, because this is one thing that I go and I speak about, and also that I coach on in my leadership circle with the women that I work with. I'm on Connie Sokol's team. I did her ambassador program where she trained me in coaching, speaking, and retreat hosting.
We love Connie. So
So she's
you
awesome.
gave even more fab.
And I have a special discount code for your listeners. If this is a good time to share. Okay, we're hosting our next retreat in April, and it's called the Disciple Thought Leader Retreats for faith-based women, primarily women who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who have a business idea or something that they want to go and market and share and learn how to do. And if you use the discount early bird, the discount code early bird on conniesokol.com/retreat, you can get $500 off.
Oh my heavens.
Wow.
And we will share that on Instagram and on the show. That is really amazing.
Yeah. So
And are you and Connie co-hosting it?
Yeah, so she's the main host and I'm the co-host.
Okay.
And then we have a team that also comes with us and helps and does breakout.
And is it just one day?
It's 3 days.
3 days.
Oh my heavens.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
And you get to just come put your feet up and you're fed the whole time. You don't have to do any dishes. That's like
sleepover too?
Sleepover. Yep.
That's
sleepover.
the good part as
Steak.
well.
I know.
Yeah. Can we just come and just relax?
Yeah.
So are you going to talk about goal setting there?
Yes,
And
I
you're
will.
going to say there's a wrong way and there's a right way, ladies.
Yes. So I want to share with you, since you brought that up, there is a right way and a wrong way to set goals.
Give us a tidbit.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
ready.
so get ready. There's really 3 parts to this.
Okay.
So number 1 is, it's just simple, but it's to write your goals down. There was a study done at the Dominican University of California, and they said you're 42% more likely to accomplish your goals just if they are written down.
Agreed.
But there are some little tweaks about how to write them to make them successful.
You can't just leave it at writing it?
No.
It's not that simple.
Write in cursive in a red pen.
That would
In
make
my
it even
phone, in my
prettier.
notes, does that work?
Yes. So the way you want to write your goals is there's a little acronym that Brian Tracy came up with. A lot of you probably know him. He was a famous businessman, author, and he said you want to write them with SMART goals, and that stands for simple, and you want to write them in the present tense. And I'm going to give you an example of this in just a second, so don't get overwhelmed.
Okay.
But simple, you want them to be measurable, actionable. You want them to be relevant. That just means if you have a goal to, say, write a book and someone comes to you with another offering to join their team to do some random other thing, and it's not helping you get to your goal, then that's not relevant to your plan.
It's a great opportunity, but maybe not.
You can say no
Absolutely.
on the path.
You can say no, 100%. And then T is the time target attached. You want to give yourself a deadline because that creates urgency, right?
Okay. Okay.
So this is a real life example that I had when I went and spoke to a group, and we were going and practicing writing our SMART goals, and a mom came up to me and said her goal was she said, I want to spend more time with my son. And I was like, that's a great goal. But I did a leadership training in the spring with a company called Becoming Your Best, and they said when you're writing your goals, you want to stay away from words like more or less or better because they're not specific.
So you say, I want to spend 2 nights a week with my son?
Yes.
Okay.
Along those lines, yep. So what we got down to hers is we said, this month, I play games with my son for 30 minutes each Monday after dinner. So it's
Very
super
Very
specific. Yes.
But that, right when you say that, I'm like, okay, I can do that.
I know, right?
That
And
sounds doable.
the greatest part is it creates a crystal clear path for your brain to follow. So you know exactly what you're going to do. And the beauty is you have your plan with your SMART goal and written in this way, and then you can focus on other parts of life. So it's not so stressful.
And I feel like once I put something in a calendar, then that's kind of my go-to too. So I can see how that would be a part of it. And then every Monday at 6 o'clock is just kind of held for that little guy.
And you just know. Absolutely.
Okay, we have to create times. We have bad habits, maybe. We need a break.
Yes. The last piece, though, before we jump into habits, the last piece of the goals is to review them daily. Because a lot of daily. So a lot of people write their goals down, and I bet you guys are even good at writing your goals down.
I do write, but I don't review daily.
But are you reviewing them daily? And there's Grant Cardone, the author of the 10X Rule. He said that he writes his goals down once in the morning and once at night so that he remembers them. And I've read of people who write down their top 10 or top 25 and they circle one to work on.
Okay.
So review them daily.
Why does that stress me out?
I know. That's,
I think
because
it's
it does seem
commitment,
like a lot,
right?
right?
Right.
Yeah, and I'm worried that like if I don't do it, then that's failure, right?
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
like getting over and past that. But
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But even if you're reviewing them 5 days a week, 4 days a week, you're not going to fall off the bandwagon by March. You know,
Right.
You'll
Right.
set your written goal down in January, and if you're reviewing them daily, you're not going to be one of those people that falls
becoming
off.
more-
Okay.
yeah.
That is a huge piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
Okay.
So then maybe it's just one. Right?
Yeah.
If I start with one, I can write that morning and
Yes.
night. Yes, I
Yes.
can, Ashley.
And
So what about habits?
okay.
So maybe I need to break some habits
Yes, yes.
before.
Yes. So I think that habits are the hardest part about setting a goal because they're the engine of setting goals. They are what makes the goal come to life. So there's an author named James Clear. He wrote the book called Atomic Habits.
I love it.
I
Read
know,
that
I
last
love
year.
it. It's so good. But he shares a story about the British cycling team.
Okay.
Have you guys heard the story? About I love it. Every time I hear the story, I get inspired. So even if you heard it, it's worth talking about. But they were just this mediocre team. They had won like 1 gold medal in 100 years and never the Tour de France. But they decided they wanted to win the Tour de France, which is like the mecca of the bicycling world. And so they brought in this coach named Dave Brailsford, and he said that he had this thing called the aggregation of marginal gains. And he said, if we can make a 1% improvement in everything related to cycling, I think you guys can win. So they hired a surgeon to teach them how to wash their hands. They tested different pillows and took the best ones with them on the road. They tested an indoor and outdoor racing suits and decided, you know what, the indoor ones are more aerodynamic, so they wore those ones when they raced. And they just did these 1% improvements. Like they painted their bike trailer white, so if there was dust, they could get it out of their gears. And these 1% improvements, Dave Brailsford said, if you can do this, I think you can win in 5 years. And he was wrong. They won in 3. Just
Wow.
by these little tiny habits. So I really think this shows us that excellence isn't about like these massive undergoing changes. It's about a commitment to the small things just day in and day out. And if you have good habits, then all you need is time. But if you have bad habits, then time becomes your enemy.
Yeah.
So is that how we're going to implement this? How do we implement
Okay.
our goals?
Right.
with
That
the
is-
habits.
That is such a good question. So you want the good habits to drive you towards your goals every day, because we only have a little bit of time to work with every day, maybe like an hour or two, you know, to work on our goals. So the best thing I think you can do, again from James Clear, he says to habit stack. So what you do is you take something
like
you're
that.
already in the habit of doing and add on 5 to 10 minutes of the new habit that you want to implement. And it takes almost no extra effort. So for example, let's say you want to write a book and you think, okay, what am I in the habit of already doing? Let's say you're in the habit of taking your makeup off each night. So you say, when I take off my makeup, then I write my book for 5 to 10 minutes.
I love that.
And it takes almost no extra effort. And maybe by the end of the year, you could have 3/4 or
When
a
you
year.
take off your makeup,
Yes.
review your goals.
Okay.
There you
and drink
go.
my Diet Coke.
There you
Oh,
go.
that's stacking 3 habits.
And it's like a reward, which is even
it is.
even
After
greater.
I write my habits, then I
Yes.
get my Diet Coke.
Yes.
Not drink Diet Coke at night.
I know, I'm like, not after your makeup. That is so
to reward myself.
Yes. Yes.
Happy free Diet Coke.
I love how passionate you are about this. Like, don't you just feel her energy? You're just like, oh, you believe it, and I love
I
it.
do. And you've implemented it in your own life, which is so
Yeah.
great. So you're not like preaching to the choir. She's done this. She's done the steps and now
Well,
teaching and sharing.
we know that to be true because if you follow Ashley, you know that she's setting her alarm a little bit earlier, or she is pausing while she's trying to finish the basement to actually practice what she's preaching. So I absolutely appreciate that about you.
Thank
and
you.
it makes it easier to try and implement some of that into our own lives. So
Right.
Actually,
that's
I want to
awesome.
ask you,
Okay.
what would you say are your top 3 habits?
Waking up early, 100%.
What time is that for you?
I wake up at like between 6 and 6:30.
Okay.
Depending on how my night goes the night before,
Okay.
I'm like really strict between getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
I am
so I
too.
wake
That's
up and
important.
exercise. Like
So
that's
another habit,
that's
right?
a huge
Sleep,
one. Yep.
exercise, waking up. There's 3.
Yes.
But tell me your other one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know. Another one is I have scheduled date nights with my husband. The 2nd and 4th Friday of every month we do a date night. And then I also have, I try to do 12 date nights with my kids, so just once a month. And those are some of the most important ones to me.
that.
So I think just husband time, my kid time, and then my alone time every morning.
To
are
go
the
back
most
to that, when
important.
our kids were little, we did dates, and they still remember. Like Chris took Brianna ice skating, and I mean, it's those little things, and it's like
Yeah.
once a month.
Yeah, I know. I have 4 kids, so I'm like, okay, I can divide that up perfectly into 12, and they can
Yes.
each get their turn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good, healthy habits.
Yep.
yeah.
I agree.
I love
Love
it.
you. You are so
Yeah, we
engaging.
do.
I hate that we're out of time. You have to come back.
Okay, I would love to
Thank
come
you,
back.
Ashley.
Thank
Good
you
luck
for
at your
having
retreat.
me. Thank you.
There's more studio chatter coming up.